Swiss and German Open recently, the All England this week, then down to New Zealand, and then the Australian Open in Sydney, US Open, and then the midsummer to the Malaysian and Indonesian Open. This is our Day 2's order of play. Kicks off with a women's doubles again, a round of 16 clash. The reigning Olympic champions up against an Indonesian unseeded pair. And then Marcus Ellis and Lauren Smith with home interest in the mixed doubles take on Jordan and Susanto. And then it's women's singles, the Olympic runner-up, never beyond the quarterfinals here. PV Sindhu looks to progress deep as he takes on the Thai player Jindapon. And our fourth match will be a fast and furious men's doubles. It's a tour order for the Danes, Astrup and Rasmussen. They're up against Lee Junhui and Liu Yuchen. And then we'll be watching the men's singles. Defending champion and 4 times winner here, Lee Chong-wei, taking on Lee Dong-Quen. So later on, we have the Adcocks again. How will they fare this year? And then the top seed in women's singles again. We'll see her for the second time. We watched her in our opening match yesterday. Then Kenta Nishimoto, Japan against Hong Kong in men's singles. Women's doubles action, featuring third seed Julian Pedersen, and then again more British interest in the men's doubles, Ellis and Langridge. So this is the scene from 5 courts down to 4, and well, plenty to play for here. There's the draw, and we'll be bringing you women's doubles action up first. And yesterday we witnessed some huge upsets. We lost 7 seeds across 5 events. 2 women's seeds, 2 men's doubles seeds, 1 in each of the men's singles, mixed doubles and women's doubles as well. There's the scene here. And just very loud in my ear. I'm playing around with a few dials here. That's better. That's better. Yeah, like that. That's a better level. Brilliant. Thank you. Paul Hand, and welcome badminton fans to the Birmingham Arena, the second largest indoor arena in the UK. Badminton England hosting the Yonex All England Open Badminton Championships from Birmingham for the 25th year. You can trace the tournament's roots back to 1898. Before 1977, this event was considered the unofficial world champs. Steeped in history and prestige, the oldest annual tournament. One of only 3 HSBC BWF World Tour Super 1000 events in the year, and very much the jewel in Badminton England's crown. We have a freshly remodeled BWF Tour presented by HSBC as its 4-year title sponsor. And here's how the events break down by category. You can see one of only 3 Super 1000 events that we're bringing you here. 27 global events in all. And this is where we've been and where we're going. You saw the Swiss Open and German Open. Recently we brought you. Now this week the All England, of course, and then down to Australia, New Zealand. Following that, the US Open, and then the midsummer, the Malaysian Open and the Indonesian Open as well. So plenty to look forward to on the year. Yesterday we had some huge upsets, but let's talk about today's order of play. Kicks off with a women's doubles round of 16 action. The reigning Olympic champions against an Indonesian unseeded pair. Following that, we've home interest in the mixed doubles featuring Marcus Ellis and Lauren Smith. They take on the 4th seeds. Then it's women's singles action. The Olympic runner-up takes on PV Sindhu. Looks to progress deep as the 4th seed, taking on Jindapon of Thailand. Then 4th. It'll be a fast and furious men's doubles, a real tall order for the Danes. Astrup and Rasmussen, they take on Lee and Liu. Then we'll be watching the men's singles defending champion in action, Lee Chong-wei, 4 times winner here, taking on Lee Dong-kyun from South Korea. So plenty to look forward to, and we had a lot of seeds across the event. So then the Adcocks up next, of course, British interest there. Then the top seed in women's singles, followed by Nishimoto. How will he go against the Hong Kong player, Nkar Long? And then Julian Pedersen, the 3rd seeds, and Ellison Langridge. British interest there in the men's doubles to conclude our action on day 2. So plenty to look forward to then on day 2. We lost 7 seeds yesterday across 5 events. Should be an absolutely cracking day. And our players will be walking to the court shortly, but let's bring you the draw. And we're right down at the foot of the women's singles draw for Matsutomo and Takahashi. And 2nd seeds taking on HARIS and Pradipta of Indonesia, the 3rd ranked Indonesian team. The second largest indoor arena in the UK, Badminton England, hosting the Yonex All England Open Badminton Championships from Birmingham for the 25th consecutive year. You can trace the tournament's roots back to 1898. Before 1977, this event was considered the unofficial World Championships, an event steeped in history and prestige, the oldest annual tournament, one of 3 HSBC BWF World Tour Super 1000 events in the year, and very much the jewel in Badminton England's crown. We have a freshly remodeled BWF World Tour presented by HSBC as its 4-year title sponsor. Here's how the events break down by category. The prestigious All England aligned as one of only 3 Super 1000 events, the highest tier possible. Each of the 3 Super 1000 events now offer a minimum prize purse of $1 million US. 27 global events in all. Here's where we've been and here's where we're going. One of the biggest tournaments of the year, the All England Open, then down to New Zealand, then Sydney, Australia, back to the midsummer Indonesian Open. So, well, we're bringing you live continuing coverage until about 9 o'clock tonight. Here's our generous order of play on day 2, then kicking off with women's doubles round of 16 action. It's the Olympic reigning champions up against an Indonesian unseeded pair. Following that, we've home interest in the mixed doubles featuring Marcus Ellis and Lauren Smith. Then the women's singles Olympic runner-up, never beyond the quarterfinals here. PV Sindhu takes on Jindapon from Thailand, the 4th seed, hoping to progress deep here is PV Sindhu. Our 4th match, it'll be fast and furious in the men's doubles. It's a tour order for the Danes, Astrup and Rasmussen taking on the 3rd seeds from China. Then we'll be watching the men's singles defending champion and 4 times winner here, Lee Chong-wei, takes on Don Kyun from Korea. And then the Adcocks, well, they've made 2 semi-final showings here. Can they go deeper this year? The Bronze World Championships they made last year in August. Defending world champion and world #1 Tai Tzu Ying, she's up after that. Then we've got a men's singles followed by women's doubles, and then Olympic bronze medalists Ellis and Langridge for England take on Go and Tan of Malaysia. This is what we'll be bringing you first. It's women's doubles action from the very bottom of the draw. So 40 matches, second round matches I should say, will unfold today across 4 match courts. Today, of course, tomorrow we'll be bringing you quarterfinals action, then semi-finals on Saturday, and then Sunday showpieces all 5 title deciders. Yesterday, we witnessed some huge upsets. We lost 7 seeds across 5 events. The sense of anticipation really palpable and building here. A tangible buzz around the venue. We've got extensive daily BBC online coverage as our players walk to the court. So here we are then, Della Destiara HARIS and Rizky Emilia Pradipta of Indonesia, the 3rd-ranked Indonesian team, taking on the might of the 2nd seeds in women's doubles, Misaki Matsutomo and Ayaka Takahashi. We brought you their opening match yesterday, and they're back to grace show court 1 again on day 2. First meeting between these 2 teams from the bottom half of the draw. 10 matches from show court 1 today. This should be fascinating because the Japanese were just so businesslike in their showing yesterday. I'm Paul Hand, delighted to be joined by Morten Frost, former world #1. Morning, Morten.
Good morning.
Good to have you along. What are your thoughts here?
Yes. I think it's going to be an interesting match once again. As you said, so many upsets yesterday. And I really found it very interesting. It was really, we were sitting here, the 2 of us, and we said, oh no, this can't happen. How can this, the players are so much favorites to win, and still some of them lost. So I've stopped predictions. I will not say anything apart from what we're seeing here. No, joking aside, of course, I feel that the Japanese are favorites to win this one.
Ayaka Takahashi on the left of your picture there, 5'5", residing in Tokyo. These 2 have been playing together for over 10 years. They were schoolmates. It's plenty of experience they bring, and you can see ranked 2 in the world right now. They played just so confidently yesterday, just taking 37 minutes to get the win. And this lady's partner was pouncing all over the net. So, well, they really are a force to be reckoned with, and they hit #1 in the world last November. There's her ever-smiling Misaki Matsutomo, 26 years of age, born in Tokushima in Japan. As I say, they have hit that pinnacle in the rankings, and the reigning Olympic champions have won 8 Super Series titles together, including here the title a couple of years ago. They made the round of 16 last year here. This is the stage that they lost at last year, looking to go a lot deeper this year, of course. Their opponents, there they are then, the Indonesian duo of Rizky Amelia Pradipta from Indonesia, 27 years old, ranked currently at 17th in the world. They were winners of the Dutch Open, these two. And as we just talked about, her partner, Destiada HARIS, just a little younger at 25 years of age, has been ranked as high as 13th in the world. But, these two won the Dutch Open, as I say, last season, runners-up in the Vietnamese Open, and 4 quarterfinal showings as well, most recently in the Indian Open. They're 9-4 on the year, and you can see who they beat in the opening round, a Korean pair to get here. So as I say, we're right down the bottom of the draw. Our umpire, Gavin Smith of England, and the service judge, Paul Buffon of England as well. Very capable hands. So our players are pretty much ready to get underway. Morten, any thoughts as we come into this? I know you don't want to put your neck on the line, but anything to add?
I think the match can be tougher contested than we maybe think, because I've also looked at Pradipta, and in the past she has actually been number 6 on the world ranking with her former partner Sebadaya, and that means that, you know, we are talking about world-class people here. So we could either see a long match coming up. You never know. Women's doubles is a long match on many occasions, and it's very hard for them to kill it, and especially in this massive hall. So let's see how it goes.
So just confirmation of this round of 16 showing them between Team Japan and the 3rd-ranked Indonesian women's doubles team. Yeah, the Indonesian's quite interesting, because Pradipta is 2 years older than her partner. 7 years from Jaya Raya, one of the biggest badminton clubs in Indonesia that's produced so many good world-class badminton players, such as Setiawan and Suzy Susanti. As you say, that career-high ranking of 6th in the world. For Pradipta, an interesting story. Back in 2009, after such a good performance in Pune, she was chosen to join the national team. And then early in 2010, due to a lack of results that she'd achieved, she was relegated, had to return back to her home club, obviously feeling a little down. And after, you know, she was relegated from the team, and that was a real wounder for her. Then she went back to her club and, well, decided to sort of just go it alone as an independent singles player. She then wasn't having much joy, changed to doubles, the discipline of women's doubles, and in 2011 started a partnership with Zebedea, who you mentioned, and was recently also herself resigned from the national team, and after a lot of work and success, took 4 big titles, and she soared up to that career high of 6th in the world. So I guess the lesson is absolute persistence really pays off, Morten.
I think so too, and this is a very fine example of players swapping from one category to another and getting more success. It's seen on many occasions, and just one that springs to mind is in Malaysia, for instance, two of the mixed doubles pairs, the two boys in the mixed doubles pairs, are two former singles players that have been transferred from men's singles to mixed doubles, and they are very successful. They are 9 and 10 in the world now. So it happens occasionally. As you can see, it takes a lot of patience. We're already into a long rally here, and it's quite typical. The Indonesians as well, they're hanging in there. They're really good fighters as well. So I think we could foresee a long match.
Yeah, and they're a relatively new pairing as well, aren't they? Working up the world rankings. They've not played 10 tournaments. They've only played 9. So they're ranked at 17th in the world, been as high as 13 in the world, March last year. So very dangerous opponents.
Definitely, I think they are top 10 material. And interesting, what we talked about earlier is that, you know, players swapping from one category to another. Matsutomo is actually a former women's singles player. And she was #2 in the World Junior Championship in 2010, where she lost to Ratchanok Intanon in the final. Since then, she swapped to women's doubles and has been very successful. Oh, that's a nice shot. That's really steep angle there by Pradipta. Try to look at this interception, see how steep she's getting that. It's even clipping the tape as well.
13 wins, only 1 loss this year for the Japanese duo. They are being really tested here as they draw level in this opening game.
Yeah, that was an unforced error by Pradipta. She was really not that much out of balance and should have been able to keep that shot in. Good attacking skills here by the Indonesians.
Well, these two had a sparkling start yesterday, and they were really sort of quite mercenary, and it was a really strong showing from the off, and they didn't let up at all. But today's a different feel about this match already. This round of 16 encounter is certainly a lot closer. Morten, is there any sort of tactical plays that you're picking up on?
The difference between the match of yesterday, when the two Indian players were playing the Japanese, it was Ponapa and Reddy playing the two Japanese in the first round, and somehow they felt uneasy and not having the patience to play the two Japanese. Where today you can see the two Indonesians, they're ready to stand their grounds, they work, and we have a completely different complexion on the match.
And there's a patience from both teams here, both desperate to sort of rally and extend the rally and get the upper hand, but certainly not wanting to rush, which is good, makes for a good watch.
One of the keys for both of the pairs is to keep a proper length, and you can see here Pradipta is lifting it a little bit too long, probably just an inch, but it's all about getting that proper length, because if they play too short, then of course the defense is in trouble. So it's all about keeping proper length and, you know, stay in the match for as long as possible.
And I guess if they'd caught sight, these two, of the showing at all of Takahashi and Matsutomo yesterday, they would have seen that Misaki Matsutomo was rushing forward at every opportunity to get to the front court, and that's where she's most effective. And they're negating that by keeping that length absolutely bang on. But after a slow start, they have just extended ahead by
edging ahead
2 points.
At the moment, 8-6. Another unforced error here by the Indonesians. This time it was HARIS. But this is something that they cannot afford to do. If they want to be up there and really put pressure on the Japanese, they cannot afford to make these relatively easy mistakes. That's very nicely defensive shot by Takahashi. If we get it again, we'll see that flat drive on the defensive here. The smash is coming. Look at this flat drive here. That is really nicely played. And once again, unforced error.
And suddenly it's proving to be a stern test then against the second seeds for the Indonesians, HARIS and Pradipta, as the Japanese take to the mid-game interval with that 11-6 lead. What was it, Morton, you were saying yesterday? So interesting, they've been top 4 since March 2014, second seeds. I mean, that, you know, they are in the mix, in the topic of conversation for contenders every tournament. And of course, when you're playing at that level, you're used to anything that opponents bring, and they seem just so calm and together, despite what was a rather tepid start for them, frankly.
Yeah, but as you say, they have this patience, they have this confidence, they have this belief in themselves. And of course, who would not have it if they have had 127 weeks as world #1? And as I said, as you rightly pointed out, they've been top 4 since the 7th of March 2013. So, you know, that speaks volumes. So, of course, you have some confidence going with it.
And further with that conversation, they've seen every sort of tactical nuance endless times. They've been down a lot, without doubt, over the years and turned things around. So they're fully confident.
Yeah, there have been many dire moments, I can assure you, along the road. Of course they have. But what I liked when I'm watching the interval with the Japanese and the two coaches coming in is that they're actually kind of having a conversation. They're not just being told what to do. They have a conversation. They have ideas of their own. And I think that's also one of the things that, you know, makes a great pair.
They certainly take ownership of their performance, that's for sure.
Exactly, that's the word.
Total responsibility from the athlete. That's what it's all about. And the coach should just be an add-on in that regard.
Wide, yes, well left.
Second seeds from Japan spreading the court nicely.
They do. That's a very good observation. They're really putting a lot of pressure on their lift as well. Not only making sure that it's got proper length, but they're also using the width of the court.
9 wins for the Indonesians this year, only 4 losses. Pretty good showing, winning the Dutch Open. We mentioned that at the top of the programme. Runners-up in the Vietnam Open as well. 4 quarterfinals as well. So, also confident. And I think more and what also makes this so enticing is there's only 15 world ranking spots between them, which is makes a great view. But now you sense the second seeds turning the screw.
But there is quite a difference between, let's say, top 8 and then going further down the list. There is a gap there. And you can see if you're even top of that top 8, then the gap is getting even further. So it's not like, for instance, in the women's singles at the moment, where you see that even number 1 can lose to number 20. Here, the gap is a lot wider.
Closing in on game 1 then.
Yeah, it's like a walk in the park at the moment. I feel the Indonesians are too impatient when they're attacking. They're going for their shots. They make mistakes in it. And in their defense, they have to buy a little bit more time, probably lifting a little bit higher, make sure they're in the right defensive position before, you know, they get caught too much. Interesting to think. I think the score was 6-all, wasn't it? And now it's 18-7.
Yeah, the Indonesians had the lead from the off. I think they were like 6-3 or 6-4 up.
That's why it's allowed. Yeah.
Well, the first glimmer of an unforced error for a while, and again she just smiles. And from an opponent's perspective, it's a little unnerving.
I think, how could I miss that one? She's a delightful character. She is, and she's always full go ahead, fighting the very best. I've never, ever seen her give in at any time when I've been watching her for many years. She always fights the very best she can. I would say, though, I was watching the Olympic final, and Matsutomo got really, really nervous at the end. They won 21-19 in that third game against the 2 games, and I'm telling you, serving and in their defense, normal shot that they would never miss, they started to miss, and so on. It was so close. Anything could have happened.
Interesting.
Service over. 9-19.
Well, it's interesting as well. You were saying that the pinch point in their career, you know, a few years ago, when they suddenly decided to get Matsutomo to really come forward and be brave around the net. I took that point on board, you know, and that was the sort of crux, the turn, the hinge in their performances, I guess.
It was, because as we talked about yesterday when we saw them play in the first round match, is that they were very comfortable playing side by side and playing quite defensive, lifting, running, defending a half court and all that. But that can only bring you to a certain stage. It cannot take you all the way to the top, so they had to do something. And yes, Matsutomo got a lot more brave at the net, moving in, interception got a lot better. She was winning more points, not just blocking everything, but she was actually killing some shots and scoring points. And that made a big change for the 2 Japanese when they started soaring up on the world ranking.
9 game points then.
Yeah,
for the second seeds now.
I think that should be enough.
Yeah. They seem to have figured things out, that's for sure.
here he comes. Oh, that's a nice save.
A long, tough rally.
Yeah, Takahashi can't believe she missed that one. That should have been the winner. Somehow it got back in here. A fairly simple mistake.
Well, that'll be a comforting score for the second seeds to snatch the game 21 points to 12 after 17 minutes played. They'll be delighted with that after what was actually a little bit of a slow start for them. So they've really settled down nicely now, and here come the coaches.
ただ自分たち攻撃してる時のクロス気をつけて一番心配なところフォアからランとかはねあとサーブリターン向けサーブリターンバック側は結構張ってるからこれだと思ってるようにそうこれだけです同じところで2回打たれたくてだからどうしても任されちゃうからそれはしょうがないから自分もちょっと簡単にクロスに来られるのがこっちラインを注視してあんまり走らない足抜いてここで特に今ネットまでちゃんとkita mati nyatanya di lob drop shot mati jadi agak dirubah kalau menurut saya agak dirubah ya ada peluang bisa nyeting berani mainin lob dengan main kencang terus batasin silang ke tengahin dengan begitu pada saat kamu net yang kecil jaga si tengahnya deh dia sering banget dan kamu cuma udah gitu kamu diam aja kamu nge-net kamu di setengah diam aja kamu net dia nge-net kamu ngangkat jadi nggak fungsinya apa kamu jagain kemana nggak ada tekanan lagi ya kalau kecuali kamu net dia nge-net kamu tap ngapain kamu net dia nge-net kamu ngangkat di setengah lewat terus fungsinya ngapain kamu perlu antisipasi kemana kayak gitu ya tadi bola lanjutan tutup 18 setengah ke depannya itu hilang banget
Morten, I see you watching very attentively the coach's input from a technical perspective, tactical. Any sort of thoughts?
I would say if I was on the Indonesian side, I know the coach Eng Hyang, and as I've said earlier, he was probably, in my view, one of the very, very best men's doubles players at his time. And I'm sure somewhere along the line here we got him that he is advocating, you know, more patience. We have to keep it going. Don't panic too much. Don't take too many chances, because somehow they got to stay in this match.
Well, the Indonesians better check their back pocket, because that point was stolen. What a turnaround from the second seeds. Starting to get on the front foot more often now, these two.
Nice shot.
It was nicely turned, that one. Seeing from an Indonesian perspective, that was really unlucky. I think they played a good rally. They stayed in that match. They really moved their opponents on the baseline, and then this lucky shot here, that what can they do? And another one here.
And they look so solid in defence, the second seeds, and they're kind of starting to manhandle their opponents almost, aren't they? Psychologically, this is kind of really tough on the Indonesian duo right now.
It is. They find it difficult to find the answers, there's no doubt about it.
Because you can't get many cheap points. They're playing high percentage choices, the second seeds, and it's tough to get the upper hand. And then convert.
You don't get easy points. That's it, non-stop.
End of. Yeah.
Not to be discussed.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't get any. You have to work so hard.
And as you say, even more so in what feel like kind of slightly slower conditions. That said, though, I was reading about Lindan, who was saying in his match against Vitingus that he felt that it was quite quick out there, contrary to what we were sort of.
Yeah.
He was saying in his match against. Subjective, isn't it?
It is. I can assure you, I can find a few players saying the opposite.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to take issue with the six-time champion, though.
But I noticed one thing at the interval here between the two games, and that was Takahashi. She's wearing a protection for her back.
Right.
And that is suggesting to me that she's obviously having some trouble. And they have, despite the fact that they have maintained that, let's say, top 4 position, not played as well after the Olympics as what they did before the Olympics. So they have been sort of in a little bit of a downturn situation. And I don't know whether this is one of the issues, or whether they are now training harder, getting their preparation ready for 2020 in Tokyo. You know, I don't know what the thoughts are behind all this.
Well, it's certainly a fascinating topic of conversation, and hot in other racket sports as well. I think of tennis, you know, where a lot of the athletes, well, a few of the athletes, particularly at the top, are struggling with injury through sort of, you know, just the grueling schedule. But of course, a lot of this scheduling is a choice thing.
It is.
You know, particularly when some athletes sort of chase money pots, you know, around the world. It's all about setting priorities on that goal sheet, I guess, and this is certainly one here.
This is one of the big ones. That's bad luck. Good interception by Pradipta. She missed it. And they find it very, very hard to penetrate that defense. That was a good opportunity, well left by Matsutomo, and out it is just by a few inches.
It must be so easy to overpress.
It is. You get so desperate. I'm going to get this one down, and then, you know, you give that little bit extra and it goes out.
Oh, it was long in the end.
I think that was out.
Did she clip it? Is that why?
Yeah, she's asking. I think she's got a point. It's going so fast, the umpire can't see it, but we can't even see it on this one.
No, not even on the slow-mo. So what chance would this man have?
Yeah.
They do a great job, don't they, the court officials? Lightning fast sport. Another long, grueling rally. So, well, that time going in favour of the Indonesian pairing. A little hope. A rare unforced return error from Matsutomo. Still smiling. Always plays her matches in such great spirit.
That was a rare miss.
5-9.
Super early return, just rushing the server.
It was well covered by HARIS here, but once again, just pushing it wide of the court. Yeah, that's the penalty for going cross-court on this attacking shot. Matsutomo had plenty of time to pass the front player, Pradipta, and it was just such an easy shot.
早く完成したいからもっとポジションとつなぐイメージで準備するエアリカンダリターンまでミスしかないじゃん相手に決められてるわけじゃないそう全然すぐ早く修正したいから早く終わりたいからねあと一瞬のちょっと高さ本当にビシッとめちゃめちゃミスをちょっとできるだけ高いついてそこに
Well, you'd imagine that these guys will be fully aware of the fact that Grishapoli and Apriani Rahuya lost as sixth seeds just above them in this section of the draw, and that'll be into the Stoiber sisters. Can they capitalise on that and earn their quarter-final berth as a consequence of that win yesterday?
Yeah, they're standing a good chance.
Service over. 6-11.
So at the moment, it's tough to see past a Japanese win here. They just seem to have the answers more often than not.
Service fault called. Too high.
Service fault called, Morgan. There we are.
Yeah, one of the rare ones. It's tough for us to see.
Above the designated 1.15
yes.
meters. Contact point.
Even then, they can't get it down. The Japanese are still getting it back, and look at that defensive shot at the end.
Defensive brilliance again from Japan, as you said so eloquently, Morton. This is another standout performance from these two. Well, they won here in 2016, so it's a place where they have fond memories. Round of 16 showing last year, unable to defend their title. But certainly a happy hunting ground over the years, this one, for the Japanese players.
14-6.
Scoreboard trickling away in favour of Matsutomo and Takahashi.
Still can't. Oh, this one, she killed it.
With the body blow, she's
Yes.
okay.
She's perfectly okay, but it was a good attacking shot by Pradipta here. The way she really intercepted. Look at this. Here we go. Well played. Good shot.
It's just got her on the cheek, I think. And, mercifully, she's smiling. That's nice.
Yeah, no problem.
Service over.
They've got such variety in their attack, the second seeds, haven't they? They've so many different set plays and great defensive responses to turn points around. And that is psychologically draining and grueling on the Indonesian team as the shuttle just keeps on coming back, even when they've had multiple attack situations in points.
15. Service over. 16-8.
A flow of errors. Team Indonesia. Just over pressing again.
17-8.
Yeah, they're pretty desperate. They really don't know how to score the points, and it's all due credit to these two Japanese, Matsutomo and Takahashi. They really have a solid defense.
Yeah, it provokes a lot of error, this solid defense.
It does.
Good play.
Sometimes it's one of the most simple shots that's doing it, doing the trick. The drop shots coming.
A couple of points then for the Indonesian duo. That'll delight them as they're trying to retrieve the scoreboard deficit.
Important to get double figures.
Wow, well, the smiling assassin at the net missed one. How about that? She's so deadly in that forecourt. Just a little rare error. So proactive up there, though. HARIS taking her time, pre-serve. Well done.
Good angle, really nice angle, good surprise.
Yeah, great use of the width of the court here. Look at this precision strike.
Wide.
It was going, wasn't it?
It was going wide. HARIS decided to take it. Good follow-up here. And now they should get it down. Yes.
Well done.
Eventually.
It takes some doing that, doesn't it? But already they've bettered their score in the opening game, and that is very commendable. Now, can they build from here? Utterly focused, all four players. These two desperate to stop the recent run of points for the Indonesians, who have raised the bar in the last 5 minutes or so.
They have, definitely.
Service over. 18-13.
Well, when they were just seemingly impenetrable, suddenly now the Indonesian attack has a little bit more speed to it, and
yeah, this is
ruffling.
a good shot. Good shot.
リターン次ドライブキ早いよ
Oh, nice try. Just fell wide of the sideline. But I love their proactivity, and they're certainly looking to really go after the point now, the Indonesians. Doing so with relatively high percentage.
Yeah, pressure was on here.
20. Match point 14.
Oh, and there it is, the body blow to finish, and she's still smiling delightfully. But it is the second seeds in Matsutomo and Takahashi who come through in straight games. 21-12, 21-14. And well, I think it was just 38 minutes they needed to come through this round of 16 clash. So earning a quarter-final berth then, and look at that. So tight to the net and the body finish. She is so fast around that net, Matsutomo. It was a very good match to watch, though, and spare a thought for the Indonesians. They are a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. World ranked 17th at the moment. They'll be moving upwards. But these two, all smiles, and they really are going about their business with a sort of imperiosity. Very well played.
What a word.
Yeah. There's an academic feel about what they did there, and a very good performance again. Yet to concede a game here. The second seeds, they're through again to the quarterfinals.